I grew up in Virginia Beach, Virginia. My senior year, I was the player of the year in the state of Virginia as an offensive and a defensive lineman. I went up and played at Penn State, spent 5 years there. I was on some really good football teams, including the 1994 team that went undefeated and ended up pre-BCS in playoffs. Did not get an opportunity to play for a national title. They gave it to Nebraska that year. Not that I hold any grudges, right? But I should have a ring too. At Penn State, I was a pretty good football player. My senior year, which is really funny, I was going through some old stuff. I'm getting older now and trying to remember things and going through some scrapbooks. And there was an article from the Sporting News. And it was like early in the season, early September, and they used to rank the top 10, 15 prospects coming out that year. And in this list, it's Peyton Manning, Orlando Pace, a couple other guys, and then my name was like number 6, right? And look, I was a defensive tackle. Right? I'm not your prototypical NFL defensive tackle. I'm about 4 inches too short. Right? I'm probably about 2 seconds too slow. All right, but I was coming out and I was ranked up there with the big guys. I got to the end of my college career, played in the Fiesta Bowl. We beat Texas, getting ready for the draft. I was projected a 3rd to 5th round guy. It's not a bad deal. Go to the Senior Bowl, which is what you want to do. As I'm going through the Senior Bowl, when you're at the Senior Bowl, you're meeting with GMs and coaches and scouts and all these people, right? My roommate, defensive tackle from USC, who was 6'4", 285, I'm 6'1"3/4 according to the NFL, and it was about 265 at the time. And Matt, my roommate's going to meeting with all these guys every night, right? And I'm coming home from practice and sitting in my room and nobody's talking to me. And at this point, I'm starting to think about what this means, right? I'm not dumb, right? Beyond kind of how I sound and how I look, right? I mean, I can think things through, all right? So it's not good. And then I don't get invited to the combine, right? So now I'm going from a 3rd to a 5th round pick to a guy in my head I know it's going to be a real long 48 hours when the draft comes around. I spent the entire draft weekend sitting in my room. I'm going to blow some minds here. There were no cell phones back then. My phone was attached to the wall, right? So I had to sit there and wait for that call and wait for that call, and it never came. I was an undrafted free agent. I went from a 3rd to a 5th round pick only because of this. Not because of my ability, but because of my size, right? I had the numbers that matched up with everybody that got drafted ahead of me. I had 8 sacks, 70 some odd tackles, and I played a shade. I was a nose guard, right? But I just didn't fit the mold. All right, undrafted free agent, San Francisco 49ers, just to kind of speed things up a little bit. They cut me after camp, sent me home. I grew up in Virginia Beach. I went home, I was bouncing in a bar. I'm a damn good bouncer. All right, real good. I can check IDs, I know the dates, I'm good. All right, and I'm pretty good at cleaning up a fight if I need to. All right, so I'm home for about 6, 7, 8 weeks. I get a call back. They bring me back on the practice squad. I fly out on Wednesday morning. Practice Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. The team leaves for an away trip. Somebody gets hurt. They put me on a plane back to Virginia Beach because they have to make some roster moves. So I'm home again. I go play in NFL Europe, which doesn't exist anymore, but we need. It's a developmental league for guys that get to play a little bit more ball and get better. Played in Barcelona, had a great experience. Went back to San Francisco. They cut me again. Went home again, bouncing at the bar. They loved it when I came home. They paid me a pizza and beer. It was real easy. All right, and I was good at what I did. Bryant Young got hurt. All right, BY is one of the best D tackles to ever play the game. Broke his leg. They called me back. I got 6 weeks on the practice squad. All right. They wanted to sign me again after the season, but at this point I was like, man, I'm not going back. Not going back. Had a couple other teams because of NFL Europe that were interested in me. Signed with the Dallas Cowboys, went back to NFL Europe. 2 trips to Europe. The Niners have cut me 3 times. I go to Dallas. There's a defensive tackle there. Got suspended for 8 games for drugs. Right? He's a good friend of mine. He's actually a real good football coach too. But he had made a mistake. It was an opportunity for me. All right. I went into that thing. I played. Just left it all on the table. I told my now wife, who was then my fiance, that this was my last run. It was my 3rd camp. I was going to be done after that. Left it all on the table. They kept me and another young defensive tackle. For 8 weeks, he and I battled it out. Every week, who was going to be active, who was going to play. right? When Leon Lett came back, all right, Nathan got cut, I stuck around. Nathan never played football again. I spent 7 more years in the NFL. I ended up being the starting nose guard in Dallas for 3 years. Signed 3 one-year contracts. They tried to replace me every year because I'm this. Right? I'm not the prototypical guy. Right? I stuck on the team because I was tough and I was smart. I could get all those other numbskulls lined up when I had to. So I've become an unrestricted free agent, which is like I've gone from undrafted to a starting defensive tackle, one of the better nose guards in the league. All right, I finally go to get my payday. I end up at the Washington Redskins. It's a little kind of a crazy, jump from one to the other in that rivalry, but it made sense financially and for me as my family. I'm from Virginia. My wife's from Philly, so I go to Washington. Signed a nice deal, nothing like these guys make now, but I was pretty happy with it. Second preseason game. I tear my ACL, my MCL, my PCL, and dislocate my kneecap. All right, I'm laying on the floor at FedEx thinking I got bones sticking out of my body, but my kneecap had rolled off the side and made a real loud pop. I was okay once I knew everything was inside of me. I came back from that. Got back on the field the next year, played all 16 games, ended up getting my starting job back about halfway through. I figured, okay, I'm good. Right? At the end of that off season, I ended up getting a scope, a surgery. Right? I ended up with a MRSA infection. I was one of the first guys in the NFL to get MRSA. If you don't know what MRSA is, it's a staph infection that normal medicine doesn't fight. They took me to the doctor. At this point, I was unconscious. My leg was the color of my shirt. All right, and the doc told my parents, who took me to the hospital, they'd have waited another 12 hours. They'd have to cut my leg off, or I'd have died. All right, came back from that again. Got ready Thursday before the opener against the Bears, 2005. All right, I get a bone bruise in my left knee, trying to slow down. My body was a mess at this point. All right, I end up getting another MRSA infection. After that, I caught that one faster because I knew what it felt like. Go in, get cut open. I actually went in, funny story, not funny, kind of funny. I go in on Thursday night for emergency surgery. My wife came in on Friday morning, gave birth to our 3rd child. She wasn't real happy with me. All right, she beat me out of the hospital. All right, so I end up, after that, this is my second operation, second deal, I end up throwing multiple pulmonary embolisms into my lungs. All right, blood clots. I almost died again. All right, so I'm laying in the hospital. I've been in the hospital for about 7 days. All right, doc comes in and says, look, Brandon, you can't play football on blood thinners. You have to be on blood thinners for a year. Okay. We can cut you open, put screens in your veins to catch the blood clots as they pop up. To me, that was a completely rational thought, right? I was like, I'm in the hospital anyways, might as well do it. But I wanted to keep playing ball. My wife, thankfully, was in the room, and she said, Doc, he's done. And that's how I retired. Right? Guys, this game is an incredible game, and it can do a lot for you. There are ups and downs. It doesn't teach you a specific skill. It doesn't teach you how to be an engineer or a doctor, right, or a fighter pilot or anything like that. But what it teaches you that just don't ever quit. Right? This game hurts. Right? You put everything that you can into this game, emotionally, physically, mentally. It's a hard game. It's a special game. The fact that you're here, the fact that you're working is awesome. Right? You're all working for something. Whatever you do after this, right, whether you keep playing in college, you get to go play in the NFL, if you take the things that you learn from this, just the toughness, right, the desire, the ability to not quit when things get hard, you'll be successful in life. All right, it's a great, great game. It almost killed me a couple times. All right, I'd do it all again in a heartbeat. Right, you've heard all these guys' stories, and I'm sure they'd all do it again in a heartbeat too. Right, I appreciate what you guys did this week. I really enjoyed working with you. I got to talk to some of the other groups, had a blast. Best of luck to you this season. Those of you that can, I hope you come back next year. I'm looking forward to coming back next year already, and have a great fall. Thank you.